So hello, welcome to León. Willkommen in meine Stadt León. We are in León, Nicaragua, and we're going to be walking around the city. We're going to be learning a lot of history about Nicaragua. Yeah, and León is the first Hauptstadt of Nicaragua, and we have a competition, a rivalry with Granada. Yeah, today we are learning a lot of history about León and Granada. Yeah, we are like Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. Yeah, and of course León is Borussia Dortmund.
Yes.
You will get to learn that today. Yeah, welcome. Let's go. So now we're going to be walking throughout these murals. They were painted in the 80s, you know. So in the Axigallare, we had a lot of cooperation from Europe because we had the Sandinista revolution taking place after 79. And actually these murals, they are showing the whole history of Nicaragua, and they were painted by a group of Mala coming from Hamburg. Yeah? So they were painting this together with people from León. Yeah? And now we will go to eine Stunde Geschichtsunterricht, yeah? With me. So we're going to learn a lot. Also, those two paintings, those are very popular here in León. They were painted in 1984 by a German artist as well. And they are called the democracy painting, showing our most important character here in León. This is known as Sandino. The right side, Sandino is stepping on the icon of the USA. Yeah, and then on the left, he's stepping on the worst dictator ever in Nicaragua, Anastasio Somoza. Somoza stayed in the power for 45 years in a row, no elections. Yeah, and he was a bastard. Somoza was such a bastard because he killed too many people that every time we talk about him, we remember him as el hijo de puta. Yeah, because he was an hijo de puta. Our former language before Spanish was Nahuatl, the same language that the Mayas spoke. Yeah, and let me teach you a couple of words in Nahuatl so you can remember. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay then. Pay attention. First Nahuatl word, Nicaragua. Nicaragua is a Nahuatl word, and it means surrounded by water. Surrounded by water. Because if you pay attention to our flag, is blue, white, and then blue. That means Atlantic, land, Pacific. Yeah. And then in the south we have the San Juan River, and in the north we have the Rio Coco, the biggest in Central America. So we are surrounded by water. Yeah. Let me tell you a second Nahuatl word. Ometepe. Ometepe means two hills or two mountains. It's five baga, yeah? Because it has two volcanoes. And then, for example, let me teach you a third word in Nahuatl, Managua. Managua means by the water because it's built by a lake. And so on. In the end, you will find many cities and villages in Nicaragua with Nahuatl names, except for two, León and Granada. They have real Spanish names. Why? Next station hier. Also lange konnte ich gut Deutsch sprechen.
Du hast in Münster
Weil ich habe in Österreich studiert, in Salzburg. Ja. Ich habe in der kleinen Stadt Salzburg gewohnt. Ich bin dort gewohnt.
Das ist ein Mozartsohn.
In der Mosernstadt, ja genau. Und deswegen kann ich ein bisschen Deutsch noch reden, aber
Wow.
ja, habe alles vergessen. Ja. Ja. Habe meine Schule dort gemacht. Ja. Meine Studien in Innovation and then in Hospitality Management, weißt du? In the 80er Jahre, the cooperation of the European countries, they came here, many cities of Europe, Hamburg, Salzburg, Lund, Zaragoza, Utrecht, and so on, you know, they were cooperating here, especially with our city, León. The city of intellectuals is León in Nicaragua. We are the university city. I said we have only two cities with Spanish real names. It was León and Granada, right? So why León and Granada? And now the rivalry, León and Granada, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern München. Warum? So it's like this. When the Spaniards, they crossed this land, das war in 1502, yeah, 1502. 1505. In 1505, the Spanish, they came here. So they crossed by they entered Nicaragua by the San Juan River, yeah, and then they ended up at the Granada Lake. They found a settlement there. They crossed by another small river, Tipitapa River, through Managua, and they ended up on a lake on this side as well. and they found another settlement, people. So basically, they found León and Granada, yeah, but with no names. Yeah, it was only the native people. Yeah, and so they learned that the native people, they had too much of gold, a lot of gold here. Yeah, the natives, oh, you know what I'm talking about, right? So then the natives, they had a lot of gold, but they didn't know the value of gold, you know. But the Spaniards, they did. So the Spaniards, they started trading cotton and spiegels, mirrors, for gold. Yeah, and this is the same dynamic in the whole Latin America. So that was in 1505. They went back to Spain, to the king, Fernando de Aragon, and they brought reports and also gold. So they were like, we found this land, and the natives, they have a lot of gold. Here we bring gold to you. And then the king was happy, and he was like, okay, we need to go back. Yeah, we need to go back and rule these people. And we are building 2 cities in those 2 settlements. The first city that we built will have the name of my hometown, the king. And he was from León, Spain. And then the second city will have the name of my wife's hometown, the queen, Isabel de Castilla. And she was from Granada, Spain. And that is the reason why León is León now, and then Granada has that name, king and queen. Yeah. Now the rivalry, because when you go to Granada, they say, "Willkommen in der ersten Stadt Nicaragua," and when you come to León, I would say the same, because they came officially in 1521, and they started building the 2 cities, 3 jaar nachher, so in 1524, same year. Yeah. Same year, the same year. But I said they found a lake on that side, another lake on this side. By the way, both lakes have volcanoes. So we were not built here. León was built 50 kilometers from here by a lake and a volcano. Like Granada. Granada has a lake and a volcano. Unfortunately for León, it was the first capital of Nicaragua because it was the first city. The volcano erupted in 1610. Yeah, in 1610. Yeah, the volcano erupted and destroyed the city. They ran away, they moved, and they continued to build León here. And therefore, the Granadans, they thought, okay, even though you were first, you are now being destroyed by the volcano. Now we are the first. Since then,
There is rivalry.
Granada is
Dortmund
Granada.
and Bayern Munich.
We don't. Granada is wie Bayern München. Yeah, and wir sind Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, we don't get along with them. They don't get along with us either. Yeah, but I will demonstrate today which is the first city of Nicaragua. That's my task. I will do it. Yeah, so, well, that's something to keep in mind. Later on, I will show you something very interesting, all right, about León and Granada. All right, good. So you will see weapons here. The Spaniards, they were not welcome. This means that we were fighting them, yeah? It was rebellion against the Spaniards. Because among other things, they were taking our women forcibly. They say, I want to marry this woman. I don't care if she's married or not. She will be my woman. So they took our women forcibly. In the end, they stayed here for many years, 300 years. They brought the Catholic Church to Latin America. The idea of the cross was brought here by the Spaniards. You must accept this religion, otherwise they would kill you. Yeah? They brought a lot of African slaves to have them work in the construction. Yeah? And when they finished the constructions, well, the slaves, they were working with the natives, the local natives and the African slaves, while the Spaniards were watching Netflix, probably. You know, because the natives and the Africans, they were working. So what were the Spaniards doing? I don't know. And so when they finished the constructions, they sent all of the slaves, the Africans, to the jungle, to the forest in the Caribbean side. That's why they are black. and they speak English and Creole and Garifuna, and broken Spanish. Because the Spanish always stay in the Pacific of Latin America. Important to know. And if you pay attention in the Caribbean island, they are not like me. We are mestizos here. Mestizo means mixture. We are half native, half Spanish. But in there, they are black. So yeah, no, for real, for sure, my family name is Alonso. My great grandfather was Spanish. Yeah, so that's why I have this. I'm not white like you, but I'm not black like them. I am in the middle. That's why I have this color. They brought sugar cane as well. It's something that you must know. We make rum because of the sugar cane. The African slaves, they brought a lot of food to us. For example, the sugar cane. I don't know if you know the yuca, the cassava, the plantains. They brought this. Yeah? And then we started mixing our food with their food, and then now is the Nicaraguan food.
National food.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was saying. This is actually my color, but because of the tours, getting tan. But we are mestizos, mixture. We are mixed, half Spanish, half native. And then we are now 19 countries, 19 Länder, speaking the same language, Spanish. Except for, Belize, the Spanish were never there. Jamaica, the Spanish were never there, And then some islands in the south, that was the Dutch, the Dutch people, the south. But then the rest, we all speak Spanish, which is good, I like it. Yeah. So the Spanish, they left in 1821, and then we became independent. Mexico and Central America, Middle America, we celebrate the same day of independence, September the 15th of 1821, because it was only one land, the same land. Yeah, it was the Maya's empire. Yeah, so we got like unified, and then we were strong. Especially Mexico, it was the biggest. Yeah, and then we could fight the Spaniards. And they left, in 1821, and then we became independent. Yeah. Some years later, 1838, let me say this in German, 1838, yeah? Then we split. And then we became lands, countries. 1838, we became Nicaragua, Honduras, Salvador, and so on, Yeah? Why? Because we needed to have, our authorities in every land. We were, in our mindset, we were split. We knew our limits, yeah, but we needed to make it formal, yeah.
Ethnic roots.
Yeah, ethnics, groups, and so then we became republics. 1838. As soon as we did this, the Americans came here, specifically to Nicaragua, in 1856. Let me say this in English. 1856. Is that correct?
Yes.
They came here. Now they are in Costa Rica, but back in the years, the Americans, the first land they visited was here, Nicaragua.
Visited and occupied.
Well, the term visit is incorrect. They came here to occupy this land in 1856. Because the reason is gold, but not our gold, it was their gold. In the 1800s, they had the so-called gold rush in the United States, yeah? Basically, they were trying to transport gold from New York to San Francisco, from the east to the west. But that was a very long trip, 3 months, 3 monate, in the Zug, by train. It was very risky, yeah? Because it was gold. So they were exploring other alternatives, and they found a water road coming on the Atlantic, crossing Cuba and Jamaica. And they ended up in the first arm, the first entrance, the San Juan River in Nicaragua, the same spot that the Spaniards had used. They enter. Luckily for us, Granada was the capital by then, because León was destroyed by the volcano. So when the Americans came, they went to Granada, not to León. That was good. Yeah? They went to Granada. They had a leader. They had a Führer. He was called William Walker. insane guy coming from Tennessee. And one day to the other, he said, you know what, people, I am the new one here. You need me. I am your new president. And matter of fact, we had an American president in Nicaragua in 1856, William Walker, in Granada. Just like this, yeah? So the reason was gold. They wanted to occupy Nicaragua for something that now is called the Panama Canal, because they could cross on the Atlantic with a ship full of gold, crossing the San Juan River, the Granada Lake, crossing to the Pacific in only 7 days, in eine Woche. So that was really quick, but they couldn't make it. Warum nicht? Because this guy, national hero, Benjamin Celedon, he was the first rebel fighting William Walker. Benjamin Celedon was so popular and so strong that one day he received this letter from the US Congress, President Polk, saying, you must stop fighting our people in Nicaragua. Otherwise, we're coming for you. Sounds very familiar. So, well, they came for him. They killed him in Masaya, close to Granada. And when he was killed, revolution against the Americans and William Walker. Now William Walker escaping, fleeing. On the way back home, he was killed in El Salvador. Yeah? But luckily for us, once again I say, the capital was Granada, not León. Before the Americans left Nicaragua, they made sure they destroyed the capital. They set the city of Granada on fire. They destroyed Granada. And then we were happy here.
Not really.
We were.
Yes,
because
León
she knows.
Oldest city now.
Yeah, and then
Nicaragua.
we could retake the Hauptstadt to León. And then the government said, okay, wait, warte. This is like fight Kinder, yeah? They are fighting the whole time. And they said in the government, no, we need to find a neutral place to be the Hauptstadt. And they found a small village between León and Granada called Managua. That's why Managua is nowadays the Hauptstadt. Yeah? That's the only reason Managua is the capital. But to be honest, Managua
In German,
has an airport.
We say in German, wenn zwei sich streiten, freut sich der Dritte.
Oh yeah. When two are
It's
fighting,
like-
the third is the winner.
So just win.
Yeah, it's the same. So they were very lucky. We have the same situation, something like this I've heard in Australia.
Yeah.
Sydney and Melbourne were fighting, and then Canberra was the winner. And now Canberra is the capital. It's the same situation here in Nicaragua. So, yeah, they left, but they came back, the Americans. In 1912, they came back. The Marines of the United States, with the same idea of the canal. Yeah. Now they had a different leader, Somoza. The Somoza family is coming here with the Marines of the United States. But now, another situation in Nicaragua. Inspired in this man, in Benjamin Celedon, we have now the rise of Sandino doing the same, fighting the Americans, you see? So Sandino was the problem here. But Sandino was organizing a kind of a small army here in Nicaragua. And so he was very strong as well. It was not so easy for Somoza to take over the power here. It was until 1934 that Somoza organized a kind of a conversational meeting with Sandino, fake. And then he could, execute him. And mostly we see only the shade of Sandino, the shape of the body, because we don't know where he ended up. Sandino was lost when he was killed by Somoza. That was in 1934, 1934, yeah, 34. Since then is when the beginning of the communist ideas began in Nicaragua. Back in the years, we wouldn't use the word communism, but the ideas were the same, Coming, especially in Latin America, the first ones using these terms were Cuba. Yeah, many of the Sandinistas heroes, they were educated in Cuba. Yeah, the ideas were coming from Cuba, but obviously from the Soviets. Yeah, and when Sandino was killed in 1934, then Somoza took the power for Fianchesillare in a row. The worst dictator.
Originally, Somoza was from the United States.
He was half Nicaraguan, half American. He could speak Spanish and English. He was born here. He was raised in the USA. He was a military. Car hunt. Next station here. So this is the Axigallare, the 80s here, the leftovers of the war. And this is the statue of Somoza riding his horse, falling down in Managua after a war. You can see here bullets, the Sandinista flag here, handmade bombs, because it was a popular revolution. I said you could fight Somoza with whatever you had in your hands. Yeah, and this is freedom in 1990, 1991 actually, when we had our democratic elections. Yeah, and as you may see, let me tell you one more time, those are the Nicaraguan folklore masks that the indigenous or the natives used to wear so they could make fun out of the Spanish people. Yeah. Now let me show you the names here. You see, Hamburgo, León, Hamburg, León. You see that? 1988, 1990. You see the names. Klaus, Klinga. Yeah.
And the kids are happy.
Yeah. Yes. We are now at the main square of León. Yeah, surrounded by important buildings. Especially this one, yeah. This is the most important building in this country, yeah. The Cathedral of León. It was built in 1747 by the Spaniards, yeah, with a Baroque style, neoclassic and Baroque style. It took 113 years to build the whole thing. 11,500 men working in the construction in this span.
11,500
men working in this span in 113 years.
So it's the biggest cathedral in Latin America.
This is the biggest cathedral in Nicaragua and Middle America, and it's the third biggest in Latin America. The two biggest are Mexico and Lima, Peru, and then this is the third one. Yeah. In the walls, there is no iron, no steel, only wood, mud, clay, and eggs.
Wow.
Yeah. And inside the church, there are graves. There are many people buried inside. The most important, Rubén Darío, our greatest poet, he's buried inside this church. Those four guys that you see there holding the walls are replicas of a museum called the Hermitage in St. Petersburg in Russia. Yeah, so they do not belong to the original building. So those are the ideas were brought by the Russians here. Yeah, above the cathedral on top, you can go upstairs. You will see it has cupulas. I don't know if you know what cupulas are. Cupulas? How do you say?
Kuppeln.
Kuppeln, yeah. And the cupulas are to spread the sound downstairs because no microphones, obviously, back in the years. Yeah. So there are 34 cupulas, yeah, upstairs, and you will see them if you go upstairs tomorrow. It is surrounded by lions that are taking care of the building. Yeah, meaning this is Lion, the Lion City, the city of León. Yeah, we'll go that way now. And it says Capital de la Revolución here, if you pay attention here. You see? It says León, Capital de la Revolución, and now you know why. Carlos Fonseca, the founder of the Sandinista party, was from here. And when he was killed, the revolution started here in León. Yeah. Well, this is the only Gothic or Germanic building in town. It was built in 1690, yeah, 1690. And it's a school run by nuns only for girls since then. So it's one of the oldest schools in Nicaragua. And it was built by the Spaniards with the help of Deutsche Architekten. Yeah, that's why it looks like this. Yeah, it's very unique. You know, it's maybe the only Gothic building in Nicaragua, actually. Yeah. That building, the pink building over there, belongs to the first university of Nicaragua and the second in Central America. It was built in 1680. 1688, yeah? And so,
Early.
early, yeah, quite early, but it's so big that they finished the building in 1812,
Okay.
yeah? So many people say that this is officially the last building made by the Spanish in Latin America. Yeah, it's very interesting. The university, no? Like I said before, León and Granada, both cities have been built in 1524, yeah, 1524. And so we turned 500 years 2 years ago in 2024. And because of the rivalry of León and Granada, the government decided to officially recognize one of the two cities, to be the first one. They say,
Okay.
we recognize León as the first city of 500 years. So that's why you see the Cathedral of León,
Okay.
500 years. You see that?
Uh-huh.
In the back, they will show you the volcano that destroyed León in 1610. Remember this? So
Yes.
let me show you from here. This is the only spot in Nicaragua where you can basically see the two sides of the bill. You got it?
Yeah. Okay.
Here.
There. You see the volcano?
Yeah, okay.
You got it?
I got it. I got it.
So now we're going to walk through the memorial street of the Sandinistas, and you will see a lot of pictures here. Most of them, they were burned here in León, but they have been killed by Somoza. Yeah, so they are like local heroes. By the way, many of our neighborhoods, they have their names here. Yeah, and this is a museum inside, but it's closed. It's called Museo de la Revolución, the Museum of the Revolution, showing all of the heroes of the revolution against the Americans and against Somoza. Yeah, like for example, Andres Castro, that was the first rebel killing Americans with his hands using stones in 1856. And then we got Benjamin Celadon on the right. That is the one who who got the letter from the USA. He was fighting William Walker. And then the rise of Sandino, fighting Somoza, right? Sandino was killed in 1934, and then this way. This is Rigoberto López Pérez, the one who killed Somoza in León in the party, the Kellner, yeah, national hero. And then this is Carlos Fonseca, the founder of the Sandinista party in León. By the way, he wrote the book
Yes.
in 1961, inspired in the Cuban Revolution that took place in 1959, Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. Inspired on them, he made the Sandinista party, Carlos Fonseca, here in León. Yeah, he was from here. And then he was killed by the Americans. And then Tomás Borges, the next one, the last one, he took the leadership. And then he passed the leadership to Daniel Ortega. That's what we know now. She was fighting Somoza. People like this, she was only, what, 14? 14 years old? And like these examples, you can see she was only 13, but they were fighting Somoza in the Sandinista revolution. In 1959, Somoza Jr. was visiting León for the first time. Students went protesting. That was here. And so he came and he stood up here in the corner and he saw the crowd coming here. And he said, no, I can't stand this. He called the police, the army. So they went shooting here. They killed 4 students right here. Actually, you will see the crosses here.
Okay, yesterday, when we went here, we saw these hats and they are covered. And it always, when I see covered hats,
Oh, yeah.
I have a bad feeling.
Nah, they're just renovating. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. With it. But actually, here they show the right spot where the students were killed. You see?
Does the government like backpackers or having tourists?
Sure, we love them.
Does the
We-
country
this-
open for
Sure,
tourists?
this is something that you all must know. You know, country Nicaragua especially is open for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're American or from Europe, or if you're a backpacker or a high-class tourist. We love having tourists here. Yeah, especially I tell you, most of our visitors are coming from the Netherlands and Germany, Deutschland. Yeah, and then the number three maybe Belgium, France, Canada, and the USA, and they are all welcome here. The Sandinista history, the Spanish history here is very rich, and that attracts a lot of young people, especially coming from Europe. They are all welcome here. We love them. Of what happened here in 1959, you see? The army of Somoza, the policemen killing the students in the protest. Yeah? So there is a lot of street art in León, and all of them were painted in the 80s because the Sandinista revolution brought a lot of, like arts and like a lot of intellectuals starting to show off. And so this culture of street art began in León in the Axigallar.
So this was where Ortega was put into power.
Exactly. This building is the National University building. And in 1979, on July the 18th, the group of intellectuals and Sandinista warriors that were gathering here, meeting here, and they called Ortega to show up here. So they gave him the power in this building.
And the second?
And then the second important event is when they hired me as a lecturer here. I teach here.
Now, so this normally it should be in the off, but it's now on the on. So which beer do you like most?
The Agustina beer in Deutschland, ja. In einem Biergarten, ein Stammtisch, ein Litermaß, ja. Mit Schweinebraten. Ja.
No.
That's my useless.
So this is the end of the tour.
Cheers.
Cheers. And so Vladimir did a very great job.
I hope you like it.
Very great job. And a perfect tour guide here in León. And the only one who speaks German.
Thank you very much for your time.
German, English, Russia, everything. Spanish.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. I hope you like the video. Enjoy it. Welcome to León.